Welcome back to the Audible. We do football content here on YouTube, NCAA and NFL football news and rankings and things. So today we are going to be discussing the Minnesota's schedule. So Nate, any comments on Minnesota?
Yeah, so Minnesota, a few years ago, not too long ago, they're kind of on the brinks of mediocrity. Then they hired a man by the name of PJ Fleck.
Yes,
Okay? And you gotta row the boat, man, because you better believe PJ Fleck is making something happen here at the University of Minnesota.
he really is. He's done a great job last season. You saw turning around, going 10-2. This is a football program to watch out for.
Exactly. I mean, what he did at Western Michigan was pretty incredible.
Hmm.
Almost could have claimed a national championship. They just beat Wisconsin, in that bowl game. They lost to them in the Cotton Bowl in that season.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get some redemption this year. They get to play Wisconsin, kind of a rivalry. So we'll see what we say. So week
Hmm.
one, starting out, Florida Atlantic going to Minnesota. They start off the season with 4 home games. Um, I think it's pretty safe to say Minnesota wins that game.
Yes. Yeah. Then Tennessee Tech at home again.
Is that an
It's
FCS school? I mean,
I don't know, but that's a win for Minnesota in my books.
yeah, I have not even heard of Tennessee Tech. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
just like you just mentioned to me earlier, but schedule like SEC teams.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they are not scheduling very strong out
No.
of conference games. They do schedule BYU, but we'll get to that later. Week three,
Yeah.
interesting matchup. Friday night lights. Iowa coming to Minnesota. What do you think happens in that one, Carter?
I have Minnesota winning this one. I think they get on an early roll from some two easy games at the start, but I think they're home. They're on a roll. Friday night game. I think it's a win for Minnesota this one.
I also agree with you. I think, like you said, they get that momentum from the first 2 games.
Yeah,
They beat Iowa, and I also think they beat BYU the next week at home.
I would agree. I think again, they keep their momentum. 4 home games in a row. Don't have to travel at all. Can just stay home, practice, and keep building up that win total. I think BYU. I
Well,
think
you
it's
also got to
interesting.
think too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, all right. So I think it's interesting. The Big Ten has two games to BYU. Michigan State plays them, and then Minnesota.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. All right. So week 5, Maryland. I think this is another pretty confident answer when I say Minnesota's going to win this one. First away game, so that could have an effect on them all the way in week 5 having their first away game.
Yeah,
But again, I don't think Maryland's going to be too much of a threat for them.
I also agree. And the thing I was gonna say is, they start off the first couple of weeks with these easy opponents. Florida Atlantic, Tennessee Tech, and especially with the lack of spring practice, I think that those games will really help catapult them in these tougher games,
Yes. Uh-huh.
like against Iowa and BYU. Anyway,
Yeah.
week 6. This is probably one of their better matchups of the year.
Yes, it really is. They have 2 tough matchups right in a row, big ones, that are important for both teams involved. So
So
I have in week 6, Wisconsin, in Wisconsin, beating Minnesota for Minnesota's first loss.
I also agree. Camp Randall, great environment. I think they're gonna jump around, and beat Minnesota there.
Yeah.
I don't even think it. I think Wisconsin could make that a pretty significant win. Make it not even close. I think it could be a 2 possession win for Wisconsin.
All right. So what I agree, it could be a 2 possession win, but I think it'll be closer for most of the game, and then Wisconsin will pull out at the end.
Yeah,
That's my guess
yeah.
for that game. All right, and then another tough opponent, tough matchup, week 7. They get this one at home at versus Michigan this time. So what do you have for this one?
I think the Gophers will beat my Wolverines in this game.
Yes.
I think Minnesota really has something special going on, and I think PJ Fleck is going to be able to outcoach Michigan when Michigan does not do well on the road. It's
Yeah.
one of the things that bothers me. In the Jim Harbaugh era, Michigan has problems. When they go on the road, and I think
Uh huh.
Minnesota will be able to capitalize on. They beat Penn State at home last year.
Yeah.
I think Michigan will fall victim to the same sort of thing.
Yep. I have Michigan winning this game. I think so. Like I've said, they go on a 5 game winning streak to start the season. No really tough opponents, and then they hit their two toughest opponents of the year, right back to back weeks, right? And they, with a loss to Wisconsin, I think they may be like, all right, we need to pick it back up, and then they lose the next game to Michigan. I think they go on, so they have their winning streak at the start of the season. They go down, and then at the end of the season, they rebound and come back and get that winning streak back, starting in week 8 with a fairly easy game on the road against Illinois.
I also agree. I think they will
So,
win that game, and I think they'll win the
mhm.
next game too against Michigan State.
Yes, I have. Yeah, Michigan State losing that game. Like I said in a different video, I think Michigan State pulls up one upset. Could this be the upset? I don't know, but it's possible. It's possible. Unlikely, but possible. And then week 10, you have them going to Purdue. What do you think about this one, Nate?
You
Or
know,
they're not going to Purdue, hosting Purdue.
I think that they'll be able to beat Purdue.
Yeah.
I don't really know the situation that well at Purdue, but I know it well enough to know that I think Minnesota should be able to
Yeah.
handle this game pretty soundly.
Yep. Me too. And same with Northwestern. I think they at home pull out against Northwestern.
I also agree. You know, I like what's going on at Northwestern, but he has a good season and a bad season. You know,
Yeah. It's
um,
they're too inconsistent.
exactly. You don't know
They
what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and that's what I hope Minnesota isn't. I think with the culture they have established, that they're not gonna be up and down and up and down like Northwestern a couple 2 years ago. I think it was winning the Big Ten West. Or was that last? No, not last year. Um, and they're I think yeah, Northwestern's too inconsistent, and Minnesota wins that game. And week
Now this
13,
is week 13, yeah,
Nebraska.
at
So
home.
at home Friday night.
So
This
I think
is this is fighting for a good bowl game. Go there. I have them 9-2 at this point, and I have them pulling out the win against Nebraska in week 13.
yeah. So I have them going to this game with one loss, right? And I think they go into this rivalry game Friday night. You know, Memorial
Yeah,
Stadium in Nebraska, and I think Scott Frost. You know, everyone say Nebraska's back, Nebraska back. Let's face it,
yeah,
Nebraska's not back. Okay, but I think that this will be a spark of a little bit of hope for Nebraska fans that their program might be back to when they were a blue blood. I think they'll
yeah.
be this great Minnesota team in at this night game on Friday night. And
hmm
what bowl game do you think they're gonna go to?
Ah, I don't know. I think they're looking at probably second place in the Big Ten West. Probably tied in record with Wisconsin at 10-2, but obviously I have them losing to Wisconsin. So I don't think they go to the Rose Bowl. I think the Rose Bowl's a possibility, definitely.
Hmm.
But for this team, I'm not really sure.
I think that what's gonna happen, and this would be a great story. I think they get back to the Cotton Bowl,
Cotton Bowl,
right?
yep.
And I think that PJ Fleck gets a redemption game, and wins the Cotton Bowl.
I could see that happening too. That'd be a really interesting game, and I'd love to watch that. Thank you for watching this episode of the Audible. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.